Hey there, fellow axe wielders, and welcome to the Guitar Crusade, a podcast for the everyday guitarist. My name is Kurt, owner and instructor at Axtreme-Guitar.com and the YouTube channel Axtreme-Guitar. In this episode, we're diving into the topic that's held many of us back on our guitar journeys, the myth that you need innate talent to become a great guitarist. Let's get started. This is a topic I've touched on in many conversations and even articles I've written. Talent is often perceived as some magical gift that only a lucky few people possess. Sure, some people might have a head start, but the ability to be a great guitarist is accessible to everyone. When I first started learning guitar, my guitar teacher told me that talent makes up maybe about 2 to 5% of what you hear from the greats. What really makes you great is the 110% of practice you put in.
Your math is blowing my mind.
What's the real secret to becoming an amazing guitarist? You probably already know what I'm going to say. Artificial intelligence. Just kidding. Practice. You really can't get around it. The more time you put into your guitar playing, the better you'll get. That's just a fact. Those guitar heroes we admire, they put in hours of their time. The catch, though, is that many people aren't putting in the practice the way they should. That will also make a big difference in how quickly and easily you progress in your guitar playing. Many people, including myself, at one point in their guitar journey claim they are too busy to be able to practice daily. Maybe you are, and if I can be a little cynical, maybe you just aren't as motivated to play that often. And that's all right too, if you're all right with that yourself. But if you're frustrated and looking for better results, take into consideration not looking at playing guitar as practice. Look at it as leisure time, like playing a sport, or painting a picture, or even building something. The problem I've seen with calling it practice is many people mentally shut down because that word seems to suck the joy out of engaging in what you are interested in. It becomes a job or a chore. So instead of calling it practice, let's find other ways to describe what we're doing. I try to ask my students, how was your guitar playing this week? Or some variation of that. I can't always avoid using the word practice, but I try to emphasize the enjoyment of playing over it feeling like a chore. When I plan out my guitar time, I don't call it practice. I just tell myself, or my wife, I'm working on a song, a riff, or a technique. I also tell myself, I want to unplug, unwind, and just enjoy some music and playing guitar. When I play my guitar, I become part of the music. Another idea is then to sit and figure out when you can play your guitar. This, by the way, is an idea I share with my students regularly. Set the bar low. Instead of telling yourself you're going to allot 30 minutes of guitar time 3 days a week, set aside 10 minutes every day. This will force you to plan ahead. Now, instead of lumping more time into fewer days, do it the other way around and use more days for less time. You don't have to do something different every day of that week. You have 7 days. Perhaps 4 days will consist of working on a song that you've been wanting to learn, and the other 3 days can be maybe a section of that song that is giving you a lot of challenge. You have the freedom to choose however many or few areas of practice depending on your needs. Planning a little guitar work every day tends to be easier than a few days for 30 minutes or longer. Doing something every day also makes it easier to adopt as a new routine, kind of like eating or brushing your teeth or even bathing. If you make it happen every day, you're much more likely to keep doing it daily. And if after you've been making your guitar playing happen daily over the course of a month or more, when and if you miss a day, the chances are you're going to feel like something's missing from your day, like you feel incomplete. Another great idea to add to your routine, every time you listen to a Guitar Crusade podcast, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a new post of an episode. Leave a comment, ask questions if you have any, and if there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future podcast, let me know. One of the great things about the modern era is the wealth of learning resources at your fingertips. With online tutorials, courses, and expert teachers, you have access to a treasure trove of knowledge. It's like having your own personal guitar mentor 24/7. But this can also be a double-edged sword. With so many options, some people attempt to surf the free resources, such as YouTube, and find themselves lost in overwhelm. Many of the students I've taught and currently teach have told me they tried the free videos from YouTube and inevitably they gave up. Without a trained professional, you'll reach a point where you have no idea what the logical next step is in your journey. You need a trained eye and ear to point out your mistakes in technique and other elements that you can't get if you're attempting to train yourself alone. If you have the basics already and feel comfortable with your progress as perhaps an upper-level intermediate guitarist, knowing what online resources to choose for your skill level may work out for you to a point, but you'll inevitably still run into the same problem. Many advanced level players who wish to further their skills pursue a mentor or coach to assist. Take into consideration professional athletes who, on their own, accomplished amazing things. Those same great athletes use personal trainers to assist them in staying in top form. Now let's talk about passion. Your love for music and the guitar is your driving force. It's what keeps you picking up that guitar even on tough days. If you're genuinely passionate about it, you're already on the right path. But be careful, that passion can sometimes wane. Don't allow the passion to just be a honeymoon phase. You need to find ways to keep the fires of that passion burning. There are always new ways to stoke the fires of your passion for guitar. So if at some point you find yourself less than burning to play your guitar, perhaps you can seek a new avenue or experience to rekindle that drive. I recall reaching a point after having played about 12 years, I was needing a change in the music I was playing. I still enjoyed the music, but I'd been playing much of the same songs, or songs that were so very similar in sound for so long that I was just losing that spark. I was playing guitar a lot less as a result. My guitar journey needed a renaissance. Up to that point, my styles were predominantly metal, hard rock, punk, grunge, and a lot of Beatles music. I mean, that's a weird mix, but that was my mix. So I needed to make a change, and I went Axtreme. Okay, I couldn't help myself there. I decided to go down a path I never ever thought I'd traverse. I started listening to country music. It was a very awkward change because I was open-minded but had no idea where to start. I had to push away the narrow-minded voice in my head, fighting against the typical anti-country stereotypes. It took me time to allow it to set in, but it did finally set in. I discovered a lot of great music, as well as music that I wasn't interested in. Overall, the experience broadened my perspective and offered a wider palette to work from in my mental musical dictionary. I'm not saying I went solely country and listened to nothing else at that time, but country was definitely at the forefront. At the same time, I also started to delve more into blues. I'd always wanted to get more into blues. I just hadn't taken the time to do it. Blues is a huge genre for guitar, and it just makes absolute sense that I get into it to some degree. So I needed to allow it to leak into my playlists, so to speak. I discovered that a lot of blues styles and techniques are also found in country music. Implementing those changes made all the difference for me. Sometimes changes like that won't be as entertaining for you. You might just never enjoy that change, but it can still be a positive experience. I can tell you after my experimentation, I have become a lot more open to listening to and learning new styles of music like classical music and jazz. I'd love to get into some of the techniques of flamenco and even salsa. And each of those genres offer opportunities, a multitude of opportunities for challenge. Lots of challenge. And challenges are the important part of the journey. Every guitarist, from beginners to the pros, faces obstacles. What sets you apart is your determination to overcome them. So don't be discouraged by a tough riff or a complex chord progression. Embrace the challenge. There can be riffs or progressions you may find you have to work on for weeks, months, and even years. Those riffs or progressions that require more long-term struggle are what really try your abilities. So make a plan and scratch away at them a little at a time. Make sure your goals are realistic, though. Setting realistic goals is crucial. Your journey won't always be a straight line to stardom, but you might have moments of rapid improvement and plateaus, and that's okay. Break down your goals into achievable milestones, and you'll keep the motivation flowing. You've probably heard of the 10,000 hour rule. I don't much care for these rules myself. The idea behind it is intriguing, but too many people hang off of these rules as if they need to count every hour, and they're focusing more on counting the number of hours than they are on what they're trying to get better at, like playing guitar, for instance. While the exact number of hours it actually takes may be up for debate, the principle is solid. Mastery takes time and effort. Thomas Edison, for example, is credited with inventing the incandescent light bulb. He made thousands of unsuccessful attempts, thousands, before finally developing a working and commercially viable light bulb in 1879. His dedication and numerous experiments eventually led to the significant invention. In this case, it is likely safe to say Edison took far more than 10,000 hours to reach success. I mean, it took him thousands of tries before he got the right thing. I would imagine it took many hours for each of those tries. But the point is, put in the time and passion, and you will be rewarded for your efforts. As we wrap up this episode, remember that the Guitar Crusade is all about improving everyday guitarists like you to reach their full potential. We've covered a lot within the overarching topic of debunking the myth of talent. In short, talent, often overhyped, is just a fraction of what makes a great guitarist. Whether you call it practice or simply enjoying playing your guitar, the key is consistency. Pair that with the wealth of learning resources available, passion, embracing challenges, and setting realistic goals, and you're on the path to becoming an amazing guitarist. Remember, it's a journey that takes time, dedication, and a whole lot of love for the music. As always, if you ever have questions or feedback beyond comments on a podcast, feel free to reach out to me using the web form at Axtreme-Guitar.com. That's Axtreme-Guitar.com. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode, and keep practicing and enjoy your guitar journey.